Punchlines for Wednesday, August 19th, 2026, the 577th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison is asking a federal judge to order Texas Governor Greg Abbott to sign his extradition warrant so that Minnesota officers can take custody of an ICE agent charged with shooting a man in Minneapolis. In Minneapolis, the Iceman cometh, the Iceman goeth. Now Ellison wants the return of the Iceman. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled that Sigel Shatta, the Trump administration's initial pick for U.S. Attorney in Nevada, was unlawfully appointed to lead federal prosecutions in the state. Dun dun dun. Welcome to Trump's The Worst People's Court. Dun dun dun. Where fake attorneys lose real cases. Dun dun dun. 2 students were killed, a male 10th grade student and the suspected shooter, a 9th grade student, during a shooting at a high school in southern Philippines on Tuesday. The juvenile shooter live-streamed the attack on Facebook, which got him banned from violating community standards. Kids can't live without social media or without current gun laws. A gold mining site collapsed Tuesday in the western part of the capital African Republic, killing at least 30 miners and trapping others. The miners will not be paid for the time missed from work. A Florida man, William Francis Sylvia, 61, who was convicted of fatally shooting his estranged wife and wounding his mother-in-law, was executed on Tuesday, continuing the state's aggressive use of the death penalty in Republican Governor Ron DeSantis' final term. Killing the GOP wasn't enough for DeSantis. This has been the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for Wednesday, August 19th, 2026, the 577th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Join me live at the Church of Last Resort, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on MindDog TV. Viva the Revolution!
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact.
I don't know.
Checking and corrections are
I don't know.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's the problem.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
I don't know. Oh, look, South Dakota.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
I don't know.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Good morning, folks. It is, I believe it's Wednesday. I hit a marker. I didn't mean to hit a marker. Did I hit a B? It's Wednesday, August 19th, 2026. You know, it seemed like the Rev was a little coffeeed up this night, a little extra energy, a little, I don't know, Rev on steroids or something. It was, but I can't tell you how, and this is just me, and it's just me. I just don't understand the Reverend. It's like, hi, I'm the Matt Nappo. I'm the Reverend Dr. Jelly Roll. It's weird. Don't you think it's weird? Anyway, today we have 2 guests for you. Double guesting thing. Henry Kowalczyk, who is author of a book, Can America Ever Be Great Again? And we're going to talk politics. And I don't know where his politics are, but I don't think it's going to be a long conversation, because if that's the question, can America ever be great again? The answer is no. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, but then In the second hour, we have Rand Timmerman, who's the author of a book called A Spiritual Passage. Now, at 72 years old, Rand, who's a Vietnam vet, just decided to walk the Appalachian Trail. I said it right. I didn't say Appalachian. And God bless him. I can't. I had a tough time walking out to the garbage this morning because it's one. And listen, it's not garbage. Not garbage. It's recycling. Wednesday's recycling day. But I had a tough time with that. So the Appalachian Trail is not in my. It's not in my playbook. It's not on my to-do list. Although but it would have to be the right time of year. I'd have to bring a lot of weed. And where do you take a dump? Oh, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding. I'm just wondering, like, how do you, you're out there in the woods with the bears and no lions or tigers. Anyway, so that's what we got in the store for you today. Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you? I'm getting heads up from people. I don't know. Why do you send me heads up? And besides that, I can't, for some reason, scroll through my media, so I can't even hit the sponsors piece here because I'm all screwed up. Let me see here. If I try a different button, no. See, StreamYard did this to me. They did this to me, and now there's no. Background music. Look at me. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You see how I don't know what I'm doing anymore? Sounds. I don't want sounds. I don't want background music. I don't want this crap. Where's my videos? My videos are all gone. Oh, well. Screw it. I'm not going to play a video then. I'm not going to play a commercial because what happened? Son of a bitch. You see now they got me cursing. Why? But it's just like, what the hell? Do you see it? No, you don't see it because you're over there. GD, if you're back there, if you could just press the button for one of the TikTok or the prop money or something, if you don't mind, if you could see it, I don't know, over the media stuff. I just don't know. I can't see it. I'm going to have to go over here and do it.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like, but if you look closer, it's actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It's what is used in movies, TV, music videos, and ads when the script calls for tons of cash or for the bills to be destroyed. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. I got these from propmoney.com. They're the official industry standard. I also got some stacks from different decades, from the 90s, 2000s, and even money bands. You can get full print stacks and even blank filler stacks in any series. They also offer age stacks for a more realistic used look and bills that are fresh off the press like they came straight from the mint. If you want colored bills or custom design bills for any occasion or event, they have you covered. If you need to do a close-up, just put a real bill on top. Visit propmoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now is a man who pushed buttons, but today's show is about politics and getting old. And if there's anybody who knows about politics, it's G.D. Fenderson. And he's been getting old since 1959, and I should know because I was there. Good morning, GD.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com /merch, the place to go to get all of your Matt Nappo birthday gifts, the kind of gifts that make Matt Nappo happy. Buy shit and restore his eyesight in his other eye.
Oh, yeah, I'm still blind, by the way. If you're keeping track, score at home, it's day 3 of me knowing I'm blind. I did not know, but that doesn't mean I wasn't blind before.
So have you scheduled a doctor's appointment?
No, that's my wife's job, and she did make a few phone calls about it. Yesterday, somebody told me that their husband, a lady in one of the pain classes, said her husband had the exact same story that I had, and he had a detached retina. And it was a surgery thing, and it was one day in and out. So that's hope, right? That I might.
Okay. I don't understand how retinas get detached. I need to look that up.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Did I poke it out? Because I did what I get really aggressive if like allergy season, my eyes are itching, and I'm did I detach my own retina?
Yeah, it may be a misnomer, like a fractured penis isn't really a fractured penis. It's more like a torn ligament.
So you're
It's not
saying somebody
fractured.
stuck their penis in my eye?
No, I'm just saying that the way it's called, some things are called things that aren't what they actually are, but it just makes it easier for other people to just accept that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's like when a woman says, "I need space, I need time to think," and that's what she's saying is, "Get the fuck out of my life." But she doesn't really, yeah. So
I thought she meant like Andromeda or something. I need space. I need the place between Jupiter and Neptune somewhere. I need that space, right? Space. Anyway,
it's funny. I type in detached, and retina is the first thing that comes up. Garage is second. A detached retina is a medical emergency where the retina pulls away from its supporting tissue, leading it to, so it's literally detached, leading it to potential vision loss if not treated promptly.
Promptly. But how do I know? Because I'm certain that it's been at least a month or so. I remember one night we were driving home from the painting at night, and my wife said, "Are you having trouble seeing?" I was like, "Yeah, everything looks blurry." So it was at least, that's about a month ago or something.
Well, it says if untreated, it can lead to permanent vision loss. So,
so basically, I'm screwed. I can't. I'll never see again. I was blind, but now Amazing Grace. I was blind, but now I see. I was blind, and I'm still friggin' blind.
Well, you're half blind and half ass. So
I would welcome the half-ass part at this point in my life. Yeah. So we're gonna talk politics and getting old. Well, not getting old, doing things when you're old. Like 72 years old, walking the Appalachian Trail. Now you would probably say Appalachian, which would get you thrown off the show. But I don't think I could walk to the garbage, to be honest with you. Do you have anything on a bucket list of things to do now that because you're almost as old as me? You're old and getting older by the second. As I don't have my watch on, but I think you're since 1959, continuing to get old.
Right.
Do you have anything on your bucket list to do? Like,
yeah, I do have.
I mean, physically, not like comedy or in 178 states or that kind of crap.
But that is physical. That doing comedy in 50 states is physical. I mean, it's not like I'm going to sit here. I can do that virtually, and it's not a big deal. Physically going to the States and getting the rooms and booking and headlining or doing feature work, that's hard work, which is why I haven't finished yet.
Slaptail saying I would have noticed the detached retina. It's like a curtain drops in your vision. Well, I think you're giving me too much credit for being a noticer, because I'm not a noticer. But I definitely noticed that I couldn't see. I've been talking about it. So it could have happened in my sleep. I got up in the morning and I'm looking, I'm saying, I can't see. And I just accepted it. Like, and I thought it was both eyes until I covered one eye and I said, holy shit, it's just, wow. I'm fucking blind.
He goes, don't worry, Matt. It's probably just a tumor compressing your optic nerve.
That's good. Thank you for bringing the optimistic viewpoint there.
Oh yeah, tumors are shrinkable.
Well, it's because it said I waited too late, right, on the detached retina thing.
It didn't say that you waited too late. It doesn't know how long you waited. It says if you wait too late, it can become permanent. So you keep reading stuff and the stuff didn't say.
So do I? So you're saying I want a tumor? It's not a tumor. I want a tumor.
You did it again. I didn't say that. You just keep putting
words
in places that didn't come out of.
I live to put words in your mouth because, as you know, Dick was here the other day, and Dick didn't put anything in your mouth. So
that's true. That's because he needed permission.
Oh, he's a consensual Dick. Yes. Anyway, we're gonna talk politics today. Are you? I'm excited to talk politics, even though I don't know what I guess position is. Like which
right now he's sitting. His position is he's sitting.
I think he's an independent guy, but it's hard. A lot of people call themselves independent, and doesn't everybody have some kind of bias, leaning left, leaning right? Is it impossible to now just be leaning center?
I don't know the answer to that because
Write that down. Wait, hold on. I got to hit a beat. He doesn't know the answer to that.
It's my experience that nothing is stagnant and everything moves back and forth. So the center is constantly moving, and the center is also relative. My center and your center may not be the same. So it's difficult. That's something that's so relative and very difficult to answer. And when people say center, they're trying to take a consensus of what the country is doing or thinking or feeling and what's right in the middle. And to be honest, I think the best thing to be is not to be right, left, or center, but to be someone who just finds solutions. To me, that's the best thing.
We gotta bring because I think that's what what his book is. Can America ever be great again? So I think it sounds like he's looking for solutions. But before we bring him in, I want to bring him in like really quickly, but I'm confused by this. So Slaptail, Major Sergeant Colonel General Beaver. Well, in the scope of military and typically civilian triage. I'm reading this with one eye, by the way. The top three categories take priority: loss of life, limb, or eyesight. So, but where does tumor come in there? Loss of tumor. That's what I'm interested.
Well, you could lose the function of a limb through a tumor. In other words, it's not saying they're not looking at the diseases or what's causing it. They're saying these final results are what we're going to look at first.
Yeah. But really, I don't want to delay Heinrich.
Then stop.
But no, but I have to say this. Last night I was listening to Valhalla, the Green Beret guy, who was the America First guy, and he was talking about a guy who was stolen valor, and he talks about stolen valor all the time. And I was kind of thinking about me and Slaptail. Slaptail gets upset when like people like Bear Love said, "I tried to join the army, but I was on LSD and I shit my pants." Whatever he said, and there was some shame for me not having served because every male in my family, on both sides, served except me. But I can't. And now I'm going through rationalizations and justifications for why I never served. But the term valor is in my mind, right? Because and you know this because you were like getting older since 1959, so you would know this. At a certain period in the 70s, when people of your age or even a couple months older might have be coming of age of military age,
right?
It wasn't valor. It was you had two options: either you came back dead, or you came back being called a baby killer and being spit in your face, and everybody was hate. You had vets throwing their medals at the White House. There was no valor, no matter how legitimate your service was. There was no valor to it. It was like it was
again. I don't know, because valor again is your own personal take on it. No, not people. A lot of people who join the military didn't join the military because of a particular war or join it because of a particular thing. I mean, some of them joined for benefits, military benefits, education and stuff like that.
Yeah,
others joined because it was the only way to get out of their situation.
I'm just trying to make excuses for me not joining. But very few people were joining. They were getting drafted.
But what I'm saying, like by the time I was 18, 1978. Around 1978, I think Vietnam was like all but over. I'm not sure that where they would have sent me, but yeah, I went to the ROTC because I wanted to get into the Air Force.
It was over. They started coming home in 1973, but they were done they ran from Saigon in 1975, April 30th, 1975.
At 78, I was looking at going into the military. And I had nothing to do with valor. I realized that I had no discipline. And I honestly thought, so I was rebellious. I was all these things that I thought were getting in my way of being a better person or achieving anything. I was just fighting. I was constantly fighting the fight. And
I have no discipline either. And the evidence that I have no discipline is because I want to get my guest in.
And you won't let me finish either.
That's right. Well, because it's 20 minutes.
Let's bring in Heinrich.
20 minutes. Heinrich Kowalczyk.
I think Heinrich would be with an I in there somewhere. It's Heinrich Kowalczyk.
Oh, really? So do I have it wrong?
I believe it's Kowalczyk.
All right. I'm going to say
Henryk Kowalczyk.
A. Kowalczyk offers an unconventional perspective that blends engineering, how that works into politics, engineering, history, and their lived experience to explore how America can rediscover its strengths. He's here now. Let's welcome in. Is it Heinrich or Henrik?
Henrik.
Henrik, he was right.
Yeah, this is Polish. This is how Polish people call Henry. Henrik.
Okay.
I was engaged to a Polish woman, so I'm a little bit familiar. At one time, I could speak a few Polish curse words, and because that was the only time she spoke Polish to me is when she was cussing at me. But that was almost 40 years ago. Okay. Over 40 years ago.
Yeah. I have to give you credit. You pronounced my last name correctly as well. Congratulations.
I've known some people with that last name, so I'm cheating there because I'm generally bad at pronouncing names. I'm having issues with StreamYard. Hold on, maybe I can move because I want to bring up the book and the BAM to your website and all that stuff. The quick answer to your question: can America ever be great again? No. Well, that's the show for you. That's the wrong book. It can't be made. Why do I have? That's the right banner, right? Yeah, the right banner. Oh, you brought up the book.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So yes.
Thank you.
The quick answer to your question is no, can't be made again. So thanks for coming.
No, that quick question is that it might be easier than you think.
Really? Talk to me. Tell me how.
Well, you were wondering how engineering mixes with politics. I am engineer by education. I have master's degree in electronics, by the way. So the fact that I took that part was a little bit of my decision, a little bit push from my father, because at the time when I was growing up in Poland, in my late teens, I showed interest in politics, and I was interested in studying social sciences. Sociology was something which I had my eye on, and my father made very firm statement: if you want to go study sociology, I needed to go to Warsaw. I lived in Gdańsk at the time. I'm giving you no dime or no Polish groszy, as we would say. For that, you'll be on your own. And then I kind of thought a little bit about it because there would be a financial challenge when I could study electronic engineering in my Gdańsk. But I signed up for the University of Marxism and Leninism, Evening University of Marxism and Leninism, to study philosophy and sociology by the end of my high school as my curiosity to learn about politics. And after studying that for just a few months, I made the decision that my father was correct. And I decided to study engineering. And there were two reasons. First was very practical. I was in technical high school. I had a little better understanding of technology and how we approach problems to solve technical means how we address technical problems, how we troubleshoot them. And when I looked at that University of Marxism and Leninism, how they approach social problems and how very little they understand technology in the modern world, that for practical reasons, you cannot do anything unless you understand technology. So I decided that if I want to be good at understanding politics, I have to understand technology. So I decided that I can learn politics, but I need to understand the society, modern society. I need to understand technology. And I was already in electronics, so that was obvious. And the electronics at that time, we were talking about early 70s, there was computers. So this was something which I was right on the money. So this was the first thing. But the second thing was, which I not fully realized, but this was the point of my father, that in the political system we had in Poland over there, If you go into social sciences, basically you'll be in the politics as a professional. So then you have two choices. You have to sell your soul to the doctrine and to the system, or if you want to be honest to yourself, you'll be always in trouble, and basically earlier or later you may end up in prison or dead. So this is how I ended up being an engineer and having a career as a businessman as well, because in politics there was no career for me in Poland. And so I could write in 70s. I was one of the, as a matter of fact, well-known political writers in Poland, but I couldn't get the job. I could only write as a freelancer from time to time, and not always my articles were released by censors. Every article we wanted to publish went to the censor desk, and they decided yes or no. Or they said you have to cross those few lines of the one paragraph or change something. And then after martial law, I couldn't find any job to begin with. So I ended up working as a private contractor with putting alarm systems. I had a small business, and as a matter of fact, we financially were doing pretty well. But I soon realized that those political restrictions will earlier or later hit me. So I ended up in Chicago. And in Chicago was a similar thing. At the beginning, I didn't have all the papers right. So I was on temporary visa. It took me a while to get everything straight. So I couldn't find the right job. I opened my own business. And I was doing also alarm system, satellite system, other small voltage installations for about 10 years. I had a small business in Chicago. And we didn't do great. But after 10 years, I sold the business and didn't make a fortune, but kind of established myself financially slightly better. And one more time, I was doing that not because my calling was in that particular line of business, but because I was interested in politics. And it took me about 20 years to put my roots in the United States. So there will be about 20 years ago. I'm in the United States since 1985, 41 years. So about 20 years ago, I started writing about politics. I started participating in political life. I on the internet, was already up and going about 20 years ago. So I was on those discussion rooms. I had my blog. You show my blog is about 20 years old. And and I soon realized that whatever I tried to write and publish didn't resonate well. And for a while,
if you don't mind,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because
I'm sorry to interrupt you here.
You have questions.
It sounds like you're not answering my question, and the question is, can America ever be made great again? And I don't know. Can I just start by asking you yes or no? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes. I'm the old-fashioned storyteller, so I like to take the long stories. But the longer the story, the better it was at the times when I was growing up, when there was no.
Yeah, but no,
but we are in different world right now. Yes. Let me say this way. During my 70s in Poland, I was among those few people who tried to use a little freedom of expression that we had to talk about how we can do things better in Poland. And I believe that whatever we did contributed to peaceful transformation of the system. Whatever we changed in Poland, Soviet Union tripped on it, and Soviet Union fell, and right now there's better in Poland. And I believe that when I look right now into the problems in the United States, the problem is not with money. We don't need a dime to start talking reasonably about our problems. Like you mentioned that it is not about left, right. It's the question, what works, what does not. And when you approach the problems not with the question, I believe that this or that political orientation has a right concept, and whatever the problem is, we have to follow that political concept. But if you start approaching the problems, how did we get into the trouble and what we can do to fix it, then suddenly the problems become much simpler. And when in my mention, as I started participating in those political debates about 20 years ago, when I came with that approach, so let's say I was in the platform which was dominated for the left-leaning orientation. And when I brought certain suggestions how to fix this and that, they say, well, it looks like that you are among those conservatives, so go on the other platforms where the conservatives gather. So I went to the other platform that the conservatives gather. And I also had the same approach. What caused the problem, how to fix it. And they say, no, you look like a liberal to me, so go to those liberals. Because none of them seek for the solution of the problem based on finding out how did we get up in that situation and what needs to be done. Everyone has certain ideological leaning. So I don't fit any of those because in certain solutions, when you look at the problem, you find the solution which conservatives will like and liberals will not. And in other case, or in other part of the same problem, there will be certain solution where there will be other way around.
I agree. Hold on. I don't mean to be rude to you.
No,
I asked you a yes or no question. Are you a Trump supporter? Can you just give me a yes or no on that?
No, I'm not Trump supporter.
Okay.
Because Trump, for all practical reasons, he have his own doctrine, and with that closed eyes, he just follows.
I agree. This is why the reason why I have to ask that question is because you are looking at this engineering viewpoint of how you fix things. You are looking at the America before Trump. Right now, I think we are living in an era of a very cult mentality where people are following him. It's almost like Reverend Sun Myung Moon, where there people just worship him. And I don't think you can fix that just by talking about solutions, because people are blindly following a madman. And I don't see this ending by proposing solutions, because we propose solutions all the time. And he said, no, it's my way or the highway.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mentioned that in the book because there was the Gallup poll in January this year, and there was at the time I was still writing the books. I incorporated that when people were asked, "Are you consider yourself liberal or conservative?" or I think they asked it, a Democrat, Republican, or independent. So there was 27% for Republicans, 27% for Democrats, and 45% would say that prefer not to align with any of those two. And among those 27% Republicans, most of them, they have that Trump cult. But then it means that this is probably about quarter of the society which have that Trump cult. Then about most Democrats, there will be also about 1/4 of the society who will be looking at Bernie Sanders and people, let's say, similar thinking like him as their ideal. But you have in the middle about half of the society who doesn't want to align with any of those extreme cult-like orientations. So I understand that I will have hard time. I have a brother-in-law who is interested in politics. My sister, who is his wife, bought the book, and he will be not read it because he is a Trump supporter. Okay, and so and this is something which, like you said, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah,
But
and it's a matter of waiting, right? And I don't have the patience or faith that this cult is going to break up. And I'm not going to filibuster here, but I think Trump became that avatar for people who just wanted to burn the system down. They were sick of Republicans and Democrats. He became that avatar, and this is what you get when you burn the system down: is like how do you rebuild it from ashes? And it's just a cult of ashes at this point. In my
well, if I can insert, there's a couple of things going on here in the background that some people may be ignoring. The people who are very, very wealthy, who are going to be the ones who benefit from this, because they get rich during war, they get rich during peace. They just find a way to get rich when they manipulate the laws and rules which allow them to always make money. So Trump is their scapegoat. He's also their man behind the curtain. He's their distraction. Trump is out there taking all these bullets, and people are yelling at Trump when he didn't cause the problem. He's just the magnifying glass over the ants. He's the magnifying glass. But the very, very rich people, like right now, they are trying to get AI through in these data centers, and people were not focusing on what was happening in their backyards with the data centers. And now they see the results and see what's going on. And now it's almost like a freight train. The data centers are being built. They started being built. Like Trump tore down part of the White House, and he kept rolling and kept rolling. People said, no, you can't tear that down. That's our house. And he keeps rolling and keeps rolling. And while people are arguing that he can't do it, he just keeps rolling and getting it done while people are arguing. Yeah. And the same thing with the data centers. The data centers are causing us to pay more electricity. They're ruining our resources. But a lot of the data centers have been built, and people are forgetting the fact that, while we were arguing over other things, they were quietly building their next empire, which is going to be the data centers.
Right. So if I can get this back on track here, the reason I brought this up is I believe your approach being solution oriented and bringing people together might work in normal times, but normal times have gone, and we live in a cult society, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. So where we can come to rational conversations about solutions without it just becoming vitriol and just craziness. So I appreciate your approach of bringing people together and being solution oriented. I think we've jumped the shark there, or past the event horizon, or whatever you want to say. I don't think there's any coming back from this. I have no faith that America can ever be great. Period.
Well, I don't say that will be easy, and if you allow me, I will refer. You probably heard about Alexis de Tocqueville.
I have not, or if I have, the name doesn't ring a bell.
Well, there is when you ask people.
The guy who got shot, right? You're talking about the guy who was shot by ICE?
No. When you ask people who supposed to be knowledgeable about politics, what is the best ever written book about American political system? And everybody will say that the best book ever written about America and democracy is Democracy in America, is the title of the book, written by Alexis de Tocqueville. Alexis de Tocqueville was born in 1805. As a young man, he was visiting America and the mission from the French government in 1831, and his job was to write a report about penitentiary system in America. And he wrote the report, and apparently was good, but he was surprised or charmed with what he saw in America, what Americans were doing. And he believed that American systems, which he observed, was the future of the world. And he was right on that. And what importance of his book at that time was that for most Europeans, European thinkers, European rulers, American experiment was seen as a failure to happen. When they went to America, they saw chaos. And that chaos, they cannot last. What Alexis de Tocqueville saw, he saw people running around, buzzing. Everybody was doing his own business. Nobody controlled it. But he saw that in that running around and taking care of their own business, looking after their own personal interests, the prosperity of the society was growing, the technological progress was expanding, and the nation was becoming rich. And he didn't see the chaos. He saw the prosperity growing. And the difference between America then and now is that at that time, when that boom of America was beginning and getting momentum, most of the government for people was on the local level. There was the village, county, state was far away, federal, they basically barely care. The federal has the post office, cared about politics, international. They didn't affect the life of most of Americans. And most Americans at that time were individual entrepreneurs. So they were farmers, those were the citizens, farmers, craftsmen, and so on. And this was the America which later ended up the most powerful and the richest nation. So when we try to see how to make America great again, I looked at that book by Alexis de Tocqueville. Again, I read it about 50 years ago in Polish translation, and this kind of gave me understanding what democracy is all about and what America is all about. And when I decided to write this book, I read again the modern translation. Apparently, there were not good translation until the modern time of that book by Alexis de Tocqueville. So I read one of the modern translation by some professors from Harvard, and this gave me understanding what was going on. And when we talk about political conversations, which I say are the key to breaking the stalemate which we are in right now, Alexis de Tocqueville, in his observation of America in 1831, claimed that at that time in America there were no intellectuals of the same caliber as founding father about half a century earlier. I doubt that there were no smart people at the same caliber as founding father half a century earlier. I simply believe that they were at that time not in the mainstream of politics. And de Tocqueville explained that because he said people were running around after their own small business, business affairs. They, as he used the term, didn't have taste for studying their social and political views. So basically, he said, most Americans have strong views about politics, not because they were well studied and documented, but because they were their own. And this perfectly explains that cult of Trump, cult of Bernie Sanders, and so on. And nothing changed. So you are correct that we have that cult. But also, at the times of trouble, America had that strength that were able to mobilize enough people who sought the reason. And there were those moments, and I think 1980s was a little bit of that moment when there were much more political conversations, open conversations about what really America is and what we need to do next. By coming in 1985, I think I caught the last wave of it and a little bit sense how the political conversation were conducted in America during the previous decade, and right now we don't have it. But it doesn't mean that we cannot restore it. What I'm trying to say that we created certain system that media are dominated by many, but very few players, and the same as politics, and both of them represent to a certain degree those two extremes which you mentioned, those two, and they don't have that freedom of thinking, that we the freedom of mind that we need. By the way, that Quill, when he commented on those Americans being not able to think a little deeper about politics and social structures, he said because there's no freedom of mind in America. So he explained that he said, if you are a political writer, and this is it describes my situation perfectly. If you're a political writer and you will be writing and proclaiming certain views which align with already established certain views in the community or certain group of the community, you'll be supported. If you tell those people something which will go against their, existing opinions, you will be ignored. Why? Because
I don't think ignored.
In America.
I don't agree that you would be ignored. In the age of social media, you will be attacked if you present any ideas that are counter to a person's bias or preconceived notions about stuff. It's not ignored. But if I may, again, I don't mean to be rude here.
No,
but if you are going to be effective in America in getting your message across, you got to be a little bit point by point. People have a very short attention span here, and we see people just kind of. I'm seeing the numbers kind of just doze out here, and I'm not trying to be rude again. I just want you to understand. I think there's some point to the disinformation and the uneducation of America. We're killing all the educational stuff. But we really need to go point by point, one step at a time, right? And I apologize for not hearing well when you said Alexei did Tocqueville, or I thought you said Alex Preddy for some reason. Because
no, it's fine. No.
But here's the thing. People really need bite-sized chunks. In order to get this stuff across, we need bite-sized, one step at a time, not a long history going back to 1831 before the Great Compromise of 1850 and all this kind of stuff. Because, and 1985, most of our people, if they were born before 1985, they don't have any recollection of what was going on in America at that time, or how it even played out. As far as I know, Reagan did work with Democrats to some extent, but he was very much a cult leader too. There were people who thought he walked on water and could do no wrong. So I don't think that I think we've been going further and further into the cult mentality. We had Reagan, we had Clinton, George W. Bush, who was kind of on. Nobody really followed him as a cult leader, but they followed him to war. And then Obama was very cult-like leader. Yeah. They had him on a cross, and now we have Trump, who is the ultimate con man television host, gone amok. And I don't see how we get out of that by just offering solutions.
Well, let me say this way. I agree with you that most people have a short span. However, we cannot overcome certain those major American problems unless there will be some of us who look deeper. And I don't expect millions of people to go and analyze all those things and go to conclusions. But I believe that people like you will make an effort and will read, let's say, the books like mine, and then you'll find out how the best transfer that message into the few big, short clips which your audience may follow. And I cannot do it alone. And what we did in Poland, Polish people were no different. They were the same, people have no time, okay? But we created certain elite of thinkers. And there were just a few hundred of us, no much more, where we were able to go and analyze certain problems in public view. So if you were interested and something caught your attention, occasionally as a regular citizen, you could read it. Right now, find some actual and deep political conversations for Americans who occasionally may be willing to spend more time. There's no. You have your audience who is willing to spend with you, an hour to listen to your podcast. So you can, during that time, tell your audience certain message. Let's say how we can start breaking the current impasse. There are thousands of problems. I believe that the first problem which we should start with is immigration. Focus on fixing one thing by understanding why we have a messy immigration. Is it the better option? And what are the alternatives? And we don't need an hour of talk about it.
I agree. Let me just stop you there, because I've been talking about immigration since the early 90s. It was part of immigration reform. And that is something that is very fixable, and it's almost, to me, it feels like common sense to me. But, and there's a big but here, I think a lot of people on the right especially are not at all interested in immigration reform. They are driven by hate and hate everybody who's not like them and just want to throw everybody out. And you hear it all the time. They're saying, just get rid of them all. Get rid of them all. Like, wait, that's not the solution. We need, especially with the birth rate down, we need people coming here. We need productive people. But we need reform, not just get rid of them all.
No, we don't need the reform. It's worse. We have to tell people that immigration policy in its core was introduced by the same people who gave us prohibition. We're talking about 1920s. And the immigration is as smart and as easy to implement as prohibition was. So the one thing to start immigration, there's 30 seconds you need it. We have to realize that our immigration policy is the piece of shit which needs to go to the trash of history. And we have to do with immigration and policy the same like we did with prohibition. Repeal and ask people before, of course, repealing, what we will do next day. So otherwise, it is not reform. You cannot reform prohibition. Because when you're talking about immigration reform, it is the same like with prohibition, that we will say, well, we have to reform it. So we will end prohibition after we first eliminate all those bootleg operations. Okay?
No, I'm just saying a path to citizenship that makes sense, that doesn't make it really hard, and makes it educate the world on what we're looking for in people on coming here, but not make it as an invading force, because a lot of Americans see anybody who's coming here, especially brown people, as an invading force, and we just want it, and that needs to be reformed. That whole idea of military-style control of immigration rather than as simple as like the DMV, setting up a DMV on the border where you come in, you apply, you are vetted, you are kind of have to check in every 6 months to kind of make sure you're being a productive member of society. You're not a criminal, you're not, and all that kind of stuff. That seems easy enough to engineer without just throwing everybody.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, that immigration is the most obvious nonsense in our reality. So otherwise, you don't fix everything. You tell, let us take that engineering approach to fixing immigration. And then basically, whatever we have, forget about it. We are not reforming that. We have to first ask ourselves how we want the immigration to function. And when you look back, immigration built America in 19th century. And at that time, there were for all practical reasons for Europeans. There were the restrictions, of course, for colored people, for Asians, and so on, because there was racial policy. But for Europeans, as long as you didn't have tuberculosis and you were able to work, or let's say if you were old and you came with a family who were able to support you, you were welcome. So the only immigration policy that we can have is the labor-based. Forget about everything else. If you want to immigrate here, find the job in America. Find the job. If there is somebody who wants to employ it, the government will check whether you have criminal records, whether you are a terrorist or something like that. If not, shake your hand.
Yeah, but what you just described, I'm sorry again, what you just described is immigration policy reform, or vetting and all that.
Yeah,
that
I mean, we are going to certain, lexicon situation. What I'm trying to say is that for political reasons, we are not reforming the system. We are acknowledging that the policy we have does not work. And the reform, let's call it a reform if you really want to. But what I prefer to say that we are acknowledging that whatever we have does not work. And then we establish new immigration policy that we accept. And I believe that it's realistic that if we take this approach, that we can get majority to approve it. And then if it's gonna work, all the opponents, except maybe a few racial, people who never would change their mind, will be happy. And if that immigration within 2-3 years will start working, there will be end of massive illegal immigration. People will say, okay, let's approach the same, let's take the same approach and fix healthcare. We have to start somewhere.
Okay, I agree that we have to start somewhere. And what you're proposing, the difficulty with what you're proposing is that the American people are not as bright and smart and free thinking as you would like them to be, and as they would have to be. Most of what goes on today anyway depends on messaging. That's how people understand stuff, is through messaging. Trump got elected because the way he messaged, even though he was a crook and everybody knew he was a crook, the way he sold it, the way he put his message out there, he got elected the first time and stole an election the second time, but nobody seemed to care, again, because of the messaging. Because the message says elections are crooked, politicians are crooked, everybody's crooked, I'm just better at being crooked. The message you're saying is that we can fix things if we focus on the problem and how to fix things and get the money out of it. However, you're going to need a good messenger. Is there anybody out there that has that message or that you think can deliver that message in a way that's going to get people to listen to you, because that's going to have to be the first step.
Okay. And this is the problem because the mainstream media are part of the system, and no one will take a risk to go with certain radical message, which about half of the audience is against it.
Well, it doesn't. See, that's what the messenger. That's the purpose of the messenger. The messenger delivers it in such a way where it does not. It's just a message. It's not radical. It's just saying I have a message, and what makes it radical will be the people from opposing points of view who want to discourage that messenger, and they'll say to people, "Don't listen to him. He's radical," as opposed to the messenger being able to stand on his own and saying, just listen to what I'm saying. Do I sound radical? What I'm saying makes sense. So there's somebody out there who speaks that kind of message that you're aware of, because that's what's going to have to start. It's going to have to start with the messenger.
Okay. Well, let me say this way. I consider myself that kind of a messenger. But
but you have to be sure. You have to, because in today's world, it's got to be like bumper stickers. You can have a message this long, but it's got to be delivered in sound bites like this, and people have to be able to connect the sound bites. Like little slogans, like Trump got elected on "Make America Great Again," "Maha, MAGA," stuff like that, and people go like, "Yay, short stuff! Yay, we can understand it." You'd have to almost say like "engineering for everyone" or something like that, or "engineering to greatness." Engineer our way to greatness. Something short and sweet, and then people can understand it. Say, people don't believe me. I'm a long storyteller myself. I know nobody listens.
Well, for sure, I don't have the charisma which Reagan has, Obama has, and simply I cannot create it. I'm not the kind of personality. I am better in relaying the message in writing, and I'm able to build the argument, which takes time to make it convincing, and I hope some people are going to read it. But
let's listen, because we're running out of time shortly. We have our next guest coming up.
Running out of time.
So we want to remind people the book is called America. Can
America ever be great again? And then simply, if I want to get any message for your audience, if you already as a person who oriented toward believing in Trump or against Trump, and you are not interested in learning anything new because you already know everything, then that book is not for you, because simply you already know all the answers. But if you believe that there is something missing in the message which you get from the mainstream media, and you look for the alternative open mind view, there's nothing better like my book.
It's well, I hope everybody does get the book. I'm hoping it's a good read, and we're gonna. People can go to the website, which is in the description. There's a link to make it easy to go get the book and read the book. I'm gonna take the last word here. You've used the word mainstream media a couple of times in the last few minutes. I don't think there is such a thing anymore. The advent of anybody can be have a platform has kind of totally erased this idea of mainstream media. There is all sorts of alternative media and all this stuff, and people are tuning out from regular TV news and all that kind of stuff and finding more information on the internet. And the more information, you would think that would be a good thing. It seems that it's a bad thing, or at least not being utilized in the right way. People are still gravitating towards what feeds their cognitive bias, rather than you listen to both sides. So mainstream media, what is that? We can't even define it. Anyway, I do appreciate you being here. I wish you good luck with the book and trying to get people to work together. But I think we need to end it there. Thank you for being here, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye for now. Heinrich K. Kowalczyk. Boy, I hate you. All right.
You hate me.
All right. I hate you.
Me. Okay.
I hate you.
Yeah. Okay. I know you hate me. And the thing is, you wrote the word interior in your text to me. I didn't know what the hell you meant. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, you're right. Interior. And I'm like, interior what? I don't know what you want me to do. And then I'm dealing with the furniture delivery. They're trying to deliver something to my home before the people that were doing my bathroom. They ordered the wrong countertop for the sink. Okay. So they had to have it made, and they want to deliver it now. But in the meantime, we find out that the tiles they put in are the wrong color. We don't want to go through the trouble of having to replace all the tiles. We just bought a new vanity, which won't be delivered until the 28th. So I'm negotiating all this shit, and you're telling me interior. And I'm like, I'm working on the interior of my bathroom.
I think I meant interrupt. I think I'm positive I meant to. It's autocorrect.
Okay. So I don't know what you typed for it to think.
Well, you're so good at interrupting, and I know so am I. But it's like I'm interrupting on my own here. But let me just address Slaptails. As an audience member, is he saying that we approach each situation in the same manner? It will make it easier. So, like we have an algorithm for approaching our problems, which I agree with, but everyone believes they are smarter than everyone else. I don't believe I'm smarter than everyone. And then for some reason, he's got capitalism there. What do you make of that? Should I leave it up there while?
No, I don't believe I'm smarter than everyone else. Just most of everyone else.
Just me.
Else. I honestly believe I'm smarter than about 50% of the people in the world.
I thought you were going to say the average bear.
Oh no, I'm not smarter than the average bear because they can survive in places that I cannot. Right. You put me in the woods for a week, and I'll be bear food. You put the bear in the woods for a week, and he'll survive.
Yeah. Rand Timberman will be joining us momentarily. Now, I know this is going to sound like, just jumping on the late bloomer, jumping on the bandwagon, whatever. You said who is out there with that common sense message. I feel, before you shoot the arrows, listen to me. I believe John Ossoff he's a white Obama. He's got the charisma. He's got a common sense message. And you talk about things that radical ideas. Healthcare for everybody is a radical idea. John Ossoff is delivering very sensible communication, very on point, not really divisive messages. And he's still he said something about Natalie Harp traveling all the time, and we don't know what her position is. And that's absolutely true. And all of a sudden he's like accusing Trump of having an affair, and like people are just going to take your words.
Well, all you got to do is look at her text to him, the private text. That somehow, I don't know how people keep getting their private text back and forth and shit, but her text sounds like somebody who's in love with him, who wants to have an affair with him.
Yeah, she definitely
it sounds like, almost like in her mind, they have a relationship that probably doesn't exist in the real world because of medication and him having a wife who's not interested in him. And so, he's lonely. Lonely. The man's lonely and unloved. So he loves that kind of adoration. So yeah, whether it's physical or not, yeah. If another woman tweeted me and wrote to me like she writes to Trump,
you're the only thing I think about. You're the only thing I care about.
My wife would have. First of all, there would be no Secret Service wouldn't be able to protect me from my wife. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. But I think Ossoff is that guy you were talking about. Like, who's that with a I think he's got a very moderate, common sense for the people message, and his words are getting twisted. But I just have to comment on this Natalie Harp thing because I'm becoming an anti-white racist because of people like her. Because all these blonde bimbos who I think are Nazis in fucking whiteface. I just can't. Laura Ingrams, the Caroline Levitts, and Natalie Harps. I think they're just complete Nazis, and it's a shame because now I'm getting lumped in. Oh, you're all white. Well, that's not the white people I know. I'm sorry. But God, it's easy to just say she's disgusting. I mean, what is driving all these white, the Megyn Kellys of Santa Claus can't be black? Oh my God, that's the worst sin you could. Jesus couldn't be brown or black. I mean, all this kind of blonde-haired Nazis, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. What do they call them? Aryans, right? That's what they are, and she's one of them, and that's why she loves Trump, because he represents a return to the Aryan nation. One last thing before you can just take it away is you were talking about Trump and messaging. We forget history, because when Hitler was in jail for those 5 years, he learned all about the power of messaging, and he was having a photographer take pictures of him in really impressive, to those people at the time, poses, and editing them, because he understood it's all about image. It's all about image. And Trump got that directly from Mein Kampf, that it's all about image. And so we are seeing history repeat itself with the messaging, as you referred to it. It's all about image. It's all image and illusion. And that's what The Apprentice was. That's why he's got these people in his cult. I'm sorry. Now I'm rambling, right? Thank God Rand Timmerman is here.
Yeah, we have to the website that we have for Rand Timmerman is not.
Yeah, I know.
It's
got to have the HT. I got a better one. The one that I had, it didn't have the security thing, HTTPS.
Okay.
So this is the right one. HTTPS and the www part is important too. RandTimmerman.com. If you just go to RandTimmerman.com, you're gonna see
nothing. You get nothing, honey.
I just found that out this morning. I did go change it on YouTube and Facebook. It's in the description here. So, and that's it. That's the right one right there. All right. Can we? Can I find the a nice intro for Rand? So, you know what? It's not a nice intro. It's a very unnice intro. He's a Vietnam vet, a former, I believe, an attorney, right? Because I'm doing this from memory because my computers are all screwed up. Can you read it?
Sure. Retired attorney who is a recovered alcoholic that hiked the Appalachian Trail at 72 years of age with his younger brother, who was 71.
See, I leave you with one job to read, and you said Appalachian.
I'm sorry, but while I was reading, a picture of Anna Kendrick popped up, and I could not think of anything but
Appalachian. Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's what I do.
I'm sorry, but I really like Anna Kendrick. I think she's so freaking talented.
Can we talk about her nose some more? Because never mind. Remember, we were talking about her nose the other day, Anna Kendrick. Yeah, Appalachian Trail, 72 years old with his younger brother, 71, and then wrote a book with 500 pictures called A Spiritual Passage, which we'll talk about right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the savior of today's program, Rand Timmerman. Thank you for being here, Rand.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You guys are funny as hell.
I don't think so. This has been a tough one.
We are funny to people over the age of 50 and 40 and 50. People under 40 go like, what the fuck are these old people talking about?
Yeah. Let me bring, see, you know what? My whole system is out of whack here today. But I want to bring up the book, A Spiritual Passage.
You talk, I'll find the book, because apparently your system is cattywampus.
Yeah. Okay. So the Appalachian Trail. Long. I was talking about this morning. I'm 5 years younger than you and have trouble walking out to the garbage and back to bring the trash out and back. The Appalachian Trail, I believe, runs almost from Canada down through
2,000 miles.
Right? Yeah. Did you walk the whole thing?
I only did 1,863 miles. I fell down Wilcox Mountain in Massachusetts on a rock slide and really banged myself up. I actually did a couple more 100 miles after that, but my brother finished it with his son. So as a family, we did the whole thing.
Okay. What possessed you to do that?
Oh, my brother wife's Edie is to blame, and she died, unfortunately.
You blaming her for her death?
No, but they were super, super close to each other. And one of the funniest things, Ronnie, wasn't funny actually, but on the trail one day, Ronnie started talking about Edie, and he said, Rand, the thing about her that I loved the most was that every morning she woke up and she was happy. She always had a smile on her face, glad to start the new day. And I'm thinking, now he was married 46 years to Edie. I've been married like 45 years, but the problem is it's 4 different women. And I just thought to myself when he said that, where do you find a woman like that?
Where can I find a woman like that? Oh,
so when she died, was Edie cremated and he was just spreading her ashes all along the trail, or?
Oh no! What happened was that when Ronnie and I were both combat veterans from the Vietnam War, Ronnie was in the Army, I was in the Marine Corps, both enlisted. I ended up being an officer, but anyway, so when Ronnie came home from the war, he met our mother's best friend, Edie, who was 14 years older than him. And on their first date, she brought her 3 of her 7 youngest children. And my brother fell madly in love with her. They got married fairly quickly. Ronnie,
okay, how did your mother take this? Because I was dating a woman who was 17 years my senior. No, 11 years my senior at one point. And my mother lost her mind. I was like 18 and she was 39, and my mother lost her mind. And when I was 21, I was dating a woman who was 42. And my mother was 42 at the time. She went bananas, went bonkers. How did your mom take it?
No, she was fine with it. You know, cougars are a pretty great breed of women. And no, my mom was fine with it. My brother was 21, but he was, you know, all he knew was poverty, hardship, and then in the Army, he enlisted. You know, he went through hell in Vietnam. He was a machine gunner on a helicopter for a while. I did that in the Marine Corps for a bit. You know, we were both kind of traumatized. And then when he found this woman with all these kids, and then my mother was fine with it. I mean, Ronnie was just head over heels. He was a great guy, very solid, very Christian man his whole life. I was kind of the opposite of that. And yeah, I ended up having an alcohol problem. I would see my brother once a year, and we almost always, me and my younger brother, Marty, would get drunk, and we would mimic and mock Ronnie for being a bishop in the Mormon church. And we were partying up a storm and having all kinds of fun. And he's just sitting there like, you know, sober.
Well, and thank you for opening this door, because this you said he was a devout Christian and you were drunk. But exactly. The name of the book is A Spiritual Passage. Did you have some kind of epiphany, religious awakening? What is the significance of the spiritual passage?
That was part of it. I did at the time. Ronnie told me he was going to hike the Appalachian Trail, and I thought he was crazier than heck. I had 4 years of sobriety, and I had come into. I'm in a program for alcoholics who like to remain anonymous.
No, they don't. That is the anonymous. They, as soon as they get in, they tell you, I'm an Alcoholics Anonymous. Well, you forgot about the anonymous part. You're not supposed to say it. But
that's right. You're not supposed to, and I never do say it that way. I always say it the way I just did. It's kind of cute, I guess, but I like to live up to the traditions of, because the problem with it is, if you're trying to be a rock star, and then you go back out, you're sending a really bad message.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid that with every fiber of my being, because I'm the luckiest man on the planet. I
have a question for you, though, because as a general rule of thumb, when people give up one addiction, they pick up another one because they have an addictive personality. They just are substituting the old addiction for a new addiction. What is your new substitute? Was it the hiking? Is that what replaced it? Well, because you're not hiking right now. So what replaced it?
Yeah, well, I'm 80 and I still hike 7 or 8 miles a day. I average 40, 45 miles a week. Yeah, hiking, walking, being a spiritual man, helping other men get sober. It's kind of what I've dedicated my senior years too, besides writing a book and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah. Books, actually, I've written several, been published twice. I've written about 10 books. I'm working on them one at a time.
Let me ask you this, because, and you very want to talk about the importance of doing things like walking past further than out to the garbage as we get older. But I'm really curious: was there a particular moment, an awakening, an epiphany on the trail, or is the whole thing as symbolic, like after you were done, kind of reflecting on it, spiritual reflection? Was there a single that changed life for you?
Yeah, there was some on the trail, but it was mostly the reflection aspect of it. When I got home afterwards, I had like 5,000 pictures. The funny part is Ronnie and I both hiked the trail differently. He was replacing the grief of losing Edie, which overpowered him. He never lost his spirituality, he claimed to me. But the pain, the emotional pain was so great that he just decided to replace it with physical pain, right? When he told me he was going to do that, I thought it was crazy, but I wasn't going to let my brother do it alone. I had hiked sections of the Appalachian Trail. I had done, fake charges with bears in Pisgah in the Smoky Mountains. It's one of the more remote areas of it. I'd hiked small sections of the trail. I mean, I knew a lot about what it was like. And I didn't think we could do it. But we hiked it different. Ronnie was more like head down, marching, like he's in the military, just gonna do this, damn it all. And I was more like, I'm never going to step in this spot again. I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can. I'm not going to look at the ground. I'm going to look around. I'm going to take pictures. And so Ronnie was marching. He was studying the maps. He did all that stuff. At some point, I decided I'm not doing that. I'm just going to hike it like it's 1970. And they got these white blaze marks. And every day I start out, I don't have any idea what's going to happen. I'm just going to let it, be what it is. And I would walk around the corner and I would go, oh my gosh, look at that. Holy cow, I'll never see this site again. I would take a picture. So that was how I ended up with 5,000 pictures. And then a couple of years after we did the trail, I got to thinking about what's kind of amazing what we had done. I began to sink in a little bit. And I thought, well, my brother, so Edie dies. He's got 7 kids, stepkids, but he's their dad, right? Has been for decades. 27 grandchildren, and now 30 great-grandchildren, because they're Mormons. When they're young, they hook up in their teens and they start screwing like rabbits, and the next thing you know, they're popping out all over the place. So he's got this huge family. I got a pretty big blended family, and my other siblings have families. So I decided to do the book.
Wow.
Yeah,
screwing like rabbits. Screwing like rabbits. That's gonna be my phrase for the next week.
It's true. It's true.
So, but you know what? I'm a little bit stunned because you said I didn't. To be honest, I didn't think we could do it. If I didn't think I would do it, I wouldn't start it. I generally don't start things that I'm convinced I can't do. How did you overcome that doubt that you could do it?
Well, I didn't think we could do it. I thought my brother was in kind of like Looney Tunes land with this whole idea, but I wasn't going to let him do it alone. I asked him how he's going to do it, and he said, I'm going to drive down to Springer Mountain, where it starts in Georgia, and start walking. Well, I knew that's a 2,200-mile walk over 600 mountains, 500,000 feet of elevation changes. It's mostly rock. It's 75% rocks. And you go through 14 states and you end up in Kehadin Mountain above the 100-mile wilderness in Maine. You're practically into Canada. And actually, the trail does go into Canada, but...
Right. Wow. But you need your passport to hike over there.
Pardon?
Yeah.
You probably didn't bring your passport when you were hiking, so you didn't know.
Do you need a passport to get into Canada? I don't think so.
You do. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
I went to Toronto without a passport.
There was a time. There was a time, because I don't know when you went to Toronto. When I first went, the first time I went to Canada, I did not need a passport. We just drove in. We said we were visiting, and we drove across from Niagara Falls up through Michigan and up to Michigan and came back down.
Yeah.
But that was 1977.
Yeah, my experience was the same. When I was a young man, we would drive from Watertown, New York, where my office was and where I lived and worked, and we would be in Ottawa like in an hour and a half. You drive, we'd get drunk and drive back home across the border, but it's not like that anymore. I mean, it's totally different now.
People in Watertown actually listen to this program, and if you don't know, Watertown is a very small town, so I'm surprised to hear you make that connection there. I'm certain people just like jumped up. Maybe they know you.
Yeah, some of them do for sure. I had my office in Watertown for 40 years, and I practiced law in the 4 top counties of New York State: St. Lawrence, Jefferson, Oswego, and Lewis County, and a little bit of Onondaga, where I am now in Syracuse.
Wow.
I was pretty well known.
So that probably explains why, because you said Appalachian too, and I've gotten in so much trouble from people from Georgia. It's the Appalachian Trail, and I get, oh, you say it like a northerner. So I heard you. So you're in trouble. You're in trouble with the Southerners. So the trail, because I'm confused about the trail, even though I've talked to many people. You're not the first person to write a book about walking the trail that I've had out in the program, actually. But I'm under the impression that like it has like stops, like there are roads in the middle, and roads that cut through the trail, right? And the little towns on the way.
Hundreds of them. Yeah, absolutely. The Appalachian Trail, and I don't care what people think of my pronunciation. Thank you very much. The Appalachian Trail goes through the 14 states, and there are roads crossing it every 10 to 15 miles on average. There's the Smoky Mountains. There's 2 sections that are about 40 miles. There's an area in Virginia called the Priest, where it's like 40 miles. So there's areas where you have to carry a full pack. But my brother and I actually use those roads, because I asked him, I said, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to take the bus to Springer Mountain and start walking. And I'm like, no, that's not going to work. I said, I'll go with you and I'll meet you down there. So we had 2 vehicles, and Ronnie had bought the maps and studied them and realized there's a road of some kind. A lot of them are really bad, but there's some kind of a road going over the Appalachian Trail on average 10 to 15 miles. So we ended up, we averaged 11 miles a day and doing the trail. But what happened was, and I like to brag, I slept in a tent every night on the Appalachian Trail, which is true. But usually my truck was like 10 or 15 feet away.
Yeah. It's got to be weird, though, because you mentioned it's all rock. So you're putting a tent down, you're sleeping on rock, really, right?
Well, a lot of where the roads cross, there's usually some kind of a landing there. And you can, and I had an air mattress and stuff. I didn't care what the heck I was laying on. That was fine.
I was begging GD to interrupt before, so I have to let him interrupt now. Please, GD. Please.
I don't know what I was doing. What was I saying?
I don't know. You started to say something. God, well, not that it's important now. It was important.
It's just that you said your truck, and my understanding was that the Appalachian Trail was like just for hiking. I didn't think, and I guess it's my misunderstanding what hiking is for. What is hiking, or what constitutes hiking? I didn't think you could have a truck on there, so I just assumed it was hiking.
There's roads.
Yeah. It is. This is the longest footpath trail only in the whole world. So that doesn't mean there aren't a lot of. But the roads go across it all. Most of them are dirt roads. I mean, Interstate Route 40 goes across the Appalachian Trail it's on the northern part of the Smoky Mountains. I started out one day there. You can find a parking spot someplace, usually a dirt road. It's close by, and you just park there. And a lot of the times we were actually right on the trail. Hikers would be.
Yeah, but how are you hiking with your truck? Because when I was hiking, I couldn't take a vehicle. I had to leave my vehicle and hike. And then when I was done, I had to hike back to my vehicle. And now when I was canoeing, somebody would take the vehicle up. So we would canoe down river, and somebody would have brought the vehicles at the bottom of where this. So we would say, we're getting off the river here. And then somebody would bring their vehicles down to that spot And if we missed that spot, then we'd have to haul the canoes back up river to where the vehicles were. But I could not drive my vehicle and hike in one direction.
Well, we had 2 vehicles. So what would happen is in the morning, I'd get out of my tent, wake up, we have breakfast. I would start hiking north. Ronnie would take his car, and we would usually pack up. Sometimes we stayed in the same spot 2 or 3 days, but not very often. So Ronnie goes, I'm hiking. I'm going north on the Appalachian Trail. Ronnie drives down the mountain to a valley, goes north to the next road that crosses the Appalachian Trail, drives up to the top of the mountain. Most of the roads are in gaps between mountains on the Appalachian Trail, but it's on the Appalachian Trail. He would park. He would hike south. I had an artificial knee. My right leg is a half-inch shorter than my left leg from a bunch of different misadventures I've had over my lifetime. I ran 26 marathons. I did a whole bunch of 32-mile, 50Ks, cross-country ski races. Ronnie and I are both pretty good shape for guys our age, or it would have been impossible to even think about trying to do it. But we had a high level of, endurance and physical fitness that most men in their 70s. So we were freaks. We were like one out of maybe 100 or 200,000 men that could even possibly try to do it, right? Most athletes are you get to a certain level, you're a freak. And we were definitely freaks when it came to that. So what would happen is Ronnie would drive around. I'm already started out, but I'm limping along and I'm not hiking as fast as he can. And then he would go south and we would meet in the middle somewhere and usually sit together for about 5 minutes. And then Ronnie would continue on. He was faster than me. He would usually get to my truck, drive back down, go the same way he did, go back up to where his car was. And I would come out maybe half an hour after he got there. And we would just stay there. So that's basically how we did it.
It sounds like it would be a disaster for me because I would first time I separated, that would be I'll never see you again. It's been nice knowing you. That's what, I went to a Grateful Dead concert in Englishtown, New Jersey with 14 friends. I still haven't seen them since 1977. I walked away from the car and it was, but you've inspired me. Like I was talking, I don't really have much of a bucket list, but I think just that one day of 11 miles on the Appalachian Trail, I would like to try that just to get a feel for what it's like and what it is. And I think I would probably be almost dead after that one day anyway, but because I'm not in shape. I'm in terrible shape.
Now I'm just curious because hiking the trails, you have to protect your food from animals that want your food. I know that we were given advice to put your food high up in a tree. Nobody will get it. That's not true. Bears climb. And then we had our food in our tent once, and the skunk came in our tent and stole a sandwich. And so the skunk he just broke into our tent, probably picked the lock with his little claw, ran into the tent, stole the sandwich, and was running away. And so my friend Tony, to get his sandwich, picked up a shoe, not his own, Henry's shoe, and threw it at the skunk and hit the skunk. So the skunk dropped the sandwich and picked up the shoe and ran off with the shoe. So
you don't mess with skunks. Whatever a skunk wants, you just back away and let them have it.
Well, that's why Tony threw Henry's shoe and not his.
You're the guy that threw the shoe, huh?
Yeah.
You shouldn't keep food in a tent. It's funny. There's like probably 250 shelters along the Appalachian Trail. They're basically like lean-tos.
Yes.
Like an Adirondack lean-to. That's what we call them in New York. But they call them shelters. And they were always packed. And they always had a cable nearby to hang for the hikers to hang their food from. And then they always required anybody who wanted to sleep in their tent had to pitch their tent under that cable.
Wow.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
I never ever slept in a shelter. My brother did a couple times. Doesn't work out because they would be packed by noon. And
now they did have the occasional outhouses along the trail when I was on it. They had the occasional.
That's what I was curious about. Like, what GD's talking about. Where's
Well,
the bear in the woods?
What, as far as going to the bathroom?
Yeah, where does the bear shit in the woods is what I'm asking.
Well, wherever the hell he wants, basically, right? I walked under a tree. This is early. I was in Georgia, like the 4th or 5th day. I walked under a tree and I could smell the bear. And I thought, there's a bear in this tree above me. And then he went, and I just kept walking. You cannot run from a bear. You do not run from a bear.
Well, you can if you're faster than the person you're running with.
Yeah, it's not going to work out well. Some bears are really hungry. They'll kill the first guy and then they'll get you too. So
yeah, but good luck catching me while you're chewing that first guy. I'm telling you.
If I could just keep this a little.
I know a bear runs around 25 miles an hour.
That's right.
At my top speed, I can probably run 21 to 22 miles an hour. It's not faster than the bear, but if that bear is busy chewing somebody, that 22 miles an hour will get me far enough that bear is going to have to. He's going to go like, it's not worth it. There'll be another hiker coming along. Why chase him?
If I could keep this all connected for just 1 second here, bears think that humans walk around with shit in their pants because every human they've ever caught.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Bears are nothing to fool around with. Most of them, though, are not gonna.
No, most of them. If you stand your ground and you present yourself as not prey, they will treat you as not prey. But if you act like snack, they will treat you like snack.
Yeah. In that case, I just kept walking the same pace. I never changed anything. And I was going slightly uphill. So when I got up to the point where I thought I was probably even with him, I stopped and turned around. And he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. Like, okay, mister, have a good day. And away I went. But yeah, bears are a tricky thing. A lady asked me on another podcast recently, if I was on the trail, I've never been on the trail before, and I'm there and you show up just as I get there, what do you tell me? And I say, if you see a bear, don't run. Absolutely. Do not run. You have to jump up and down, yell at 99% of the time, they're just going to take off. Once they realize you're there. If you run, they're going to think you're food because they can't see very good, and they're going to attack. And if a bear attacks you, I did an 1.5 hour standoff with a bear in Pisgah area of the Smoky Mountains in the wintertime. Well, it was early winter in the snow. And this bear should have been hibernating, right? I knew there was something wrong with it.
See, people misunderstand what hibernation is for a bear. Bears do not sleep all through the winter. That's a myth. They do come out. They wake up maybe once a week or so, go out. I mean, they do not poop. I mean, they clog their anus with berries and weed and stuff like that. But they do come out occasionally, maybe once a week or so, but they don't sleep through the whole winter. That's a myth.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this bear something was wrong with it. It was not fat. It should have been fat.
Right.
It seemed to have a jaw problem. It was very slurpy. I gathered it was very hungry, and it kept fake charging me. Have you ever seen a bear do a fake charge? It is scary as heck.
Yeah.
Now, he probably learned that if he does that, somebody will throw food at him.
No, he probably is. What he wants you to do is run, so he knows that you are prey, and he's just going to get you. But I wasn't. So I'm fake charging him. I'm pumping my legs. I'm yelling. My hands are flying around. Go away, bear. Go away, bear. And I'm moving forward about 6 inches every 3 seconds. I'm not moving, basically, right? And we did that I don't know how many times. And then he would back off, and then he would disappear. I would get going again. I'm in the mountains all by myself. I never saw another person on this whole hike. I would, from the trauma of the war, I would just have these situations where I just had to get away. And I would just go in the mountains with my pack and all my gear, and I just hike for 2 or 3 days. Sometimes I'd take a bottle. Sometimes I wouldn't. And that's how I happened to be in this situation. As a matter of fact, when I left the parking lot, there was 2 rangers there waiting, and they were mad as hell because they were closing it for the season, and my car was in the back all weekend, and they didn't know where the heck I was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then this bear, he kept coming back. He kept finding me. And, I think, 20 minutes have gone by. I haven't seen the bear. I guess I'm okay. And then all the next thing I know, there he is again, right? Now he's behind me. So I got to turn around and I had a weapon. I could have, but I just did not want to shoot a bear.
Did you think of doing this? Putting on that mask that looks like a human's face and put it on backwards. So you walk away, but he thinks you're watching him. It's like, what? How's he doing that?
Yeah, they do that in Africa with the lions. I don't think that works out very good. That's not a good plan either.
CD, are you with me on this idea that Heavy Kev is missing a golden opportunity to come up with something right on this part of the conversation here?
He probably is growing. He probably is working on it right now because the thing is, he doesn't know what a bear looks like. He's never seen one, so he's
never seen a bear.
Not
even in the zoo.
No, not even in the zoo. So he's Googling it right now because he.
The surprising thing that Rand said there was he didn't run into a single person on the trail, because in my mind, in my dopey little imagination, I'm just thinking they were hippies and just crazy people.
It also depends on when you're going. See, a lot of people go when it's nice out. If it's starting to be winter and stuff, if you're planning on hiking the entire trail, you're going to hit like all 4 seasons eventually.
But in my mind, there's freaks living on the trail, especially like in the southern states, in Georgia and there's freaks all over there living in the woods, and we're just waiting for people like me so they could like deliverance me. Squeal pig.
Well, on that occasion, it was in the fall. The leaves are all off the trees, and it was no snow. And then it snowed the second day. And then by the time I got to the parking lot, I was walking in snow, probably 6 to 8 inches of snow. So I was right at the cusp between fall and winter. And that's where with that bear. What ended up happening with that bear finally was, it's kind of like being in combat. You get to a point where you just had enough, right? You just do crazy out of mind stuff. And I'm just like, I'm done with this bear. And I charged it. I didn't fake it. I charged that son of a gun. And that really got to him, and he took off. And that time he took off with alacrity, and that was the end of it. But I don't recommend it.
Was Alacrity your friend, your other person? No, he took off. And I said, see you later. I'm going my way. My traveling partner, Alacrity. The bear got him.
Ran Alacrity. There you go.
Who is this book for? Is it for older people who need to be motivated to do things as they get older to keep themselves alive and young? Or is it for people like me looking for some meaning in life? And because the spiritual passage, that's going to make me think, this is the answer. There's the answer in this book that's going to enlighten me and make me a religious person. I'm not necessarily religious in the sense of going to organized religion, but finding some kind of higher power or something like that. Who did you write this for?
Well, it's a combination of all of that. When I wrote the book, my sponsor, we have sponsors in that program I'm in.
Yeah.
It took me through the 12 steps. He changed my life, I made a connection with a higher power that became just unbelievable for me. And I realized I would have never been able to do it if I hadn't done that program, if he hadn't saved my life. He took me to the emergency room, spent the whole day with me when he found me. I mean, I was at the end. I just wanted to die. I was on my way out. And then he had been in the same program for 30 years. And he was no more spiritual when he came in than I was. And I knew he was the most spiritual man I had ever met. He spent the whole day with me in a hospital, changed my life. Forever grateful. And then when I was doing the book, I realized now Ronnie's spiritual. He had some spiritual experiences on the trail, as did I, little things, but they were very important. But that I had an opportunity to kind of honor him by talking about, and every other or every third chapter is about how I did each of the steps with my sponsor. Wow. What he said that motivated me to get better. And so actually I had a host in the beginning. After we were done, he goes, we started talking, and it turned out his father was a police officer many miles away from where he was, who was not working because he was drunk all the time. And he was really concerned about his dad. And I said, well, you know what? Give me his address and I'll send him the book. We talked for an hour and a half after the podcast. And then he goes, no, I don't think so. And then finally, like a month later, he sends me an email and says, Rand, I go ahead and send the book to my dad, but do not say a word about me. Wow. And then I realized he just didn't want his dad didn't have any idea that it might have come through his son. No. So I sent the book. So I sent the book to the guy and I just said, I understand you're struggling. Hope you overcome your difficulties. Happy trails. Sign my name and send it. That was it. I figured I'd never hear anything, But 6 weeks later, I get an email from the dad and it says, I don't know why you sent me this damn book, but I really liked it. And I'm going to try to do something different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Making a difference.
So that's a big part of it. Old people, I see it all. I'm 80 years old now. I got relatives, families disappearing. I'm the patriarch now. How the hell did I ever live to be the patriarch? I have no idea. That's crazy as heck. But, and they don't go out gracefully. Yeah. A lot of people die inside long before their body gives up.
Oh yeah. I know that I am the last of my immediate family. My brothers and sisters, my parents, my grandparents, they're all gone. I'm like the last one. And it's a relief because now I'm in charge of all the memories. And so people who thought my brother was like this nice guy, it's like, no, I'm going to retell the story so that everybody knows my brother was a real son of a bitch. And so was my sister. And so was my other brother.
Wow. That's just terrible. But does it need to be something physical to keep you alive? Because I do a lot of work with older people, and I'm old. I'm 67 when that feels like, whoa. But people 20 years older than me, and a lot of ladies in their 90s. And I had one the other day she was painting with me for the first time, and just the experience brought her back to being like a kid again. She was having fun, and I thought, well, you don't need to necessarily get on a treadmill to stay young. You just need to do things to inspire you and to remind yourself that you're alive in some way, right? Or do you think they're
exactly?
Oh yeah,
yeah, I agree with 100%. And that was not. I mean, most old people, nobody. I don't want people hiking the Appalachian Trail in their 70s. I mean, that's insane.
You're just saying it because you don't want your record broken.
Well, 11 miles a day. I remember about 15 years ago, I walked 17 miles in one day, and I was hurting after that. My entire body, it took me 3 days to recover from that. 11 miles a single day. Is that would you say that's the toughest part of what you did physically? What was the toughest challenge of it?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I fell every day. I broke 4 hiking sticks. Usually in the afternoon, I would get so tired and the fatigue factor would be tremendous. And then all of a sudden I'd have a hiking stick between my legs and I'm going, my brain goes, how did I get there? And the next thing I know, I'm, flying. Luckily, I didn't get hurt except that one time really bad. But yeah, the fatigue factor. But it's funny thing about our bodies too. When you get into hiking shape, I mean, when we did the first couple of days in Georgia, the mountains are, they're real and for sure, but I was in pretty good shape, but I'm like struggling like a son of a gun. It took me 10, 11 hours to go 8 miles. I'm like, there's no way. But getting the tent at night, I normally only sleep about 5 hours. It's still the same way. I've been that way my whole life. But one of the things I realized, however many hours I hiked, that's how long I slept.
Wow.
Yep. And then I would wake up and all the pain would be gone. And I'd get out of I'm a stiff, of course, but I get out of the tent and start to eat something. And my brother gets up and I want to go. I'm ready.
Wow.
And then after a while, it does get easier, but fatigue factor just never quite goes away. I've never been so tired on a day. Well, in Vietnam, I was quite a few times, but I mean,
well, you know what? Vietnam is a whole other subject. And for me, it's been a major subject in my life, a topic that I'm fascinated with because I was very young during most of the time. And it ended when I was just reaching puberty, I guess. For the most part, the Paris Accord was 1973. I was 13 years old. But just the kind of, I know so many people who went there and didn't come back and all. So the question I'm kind of clumsily building to here, did because of everybody I talked to who was in Vietnam, they said that they did an awful lot of walking, hiking, whatever. Except the difference is you're waiting for snipers to be shooting at you while you're doing the walking. Any of the trail experience trigger flashbacks or unpleasant memories of Nam?
No. But, I had a big problem with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Had no idea I had it. My brother had it. I used alcohol at times to ameliorate some of the nightmares. I had horrific nightmares, unbelievable, very real, very scary as hell. I was in a battle where we ran out of ammo and we were fighting for our lives, and it was just. And then I would have nightmares about it, and in my 30s and 40s. But by the time I did the trip, once I got sober and started living the life that God always wanted me to be, the man that God. Everything changed for me, and that problem also had pretty well dissipated. So I have reasonable fears, right? I don't want to fall down a cliff, which I ended up doing, but but I'm not afraid of a lot of things I should be too. So that's
you challenged a bear. We heard about that. You should be afraid.
I don't know. Everybody knows I'm a nutcase. I always pretty confident I can somehow manage no matter how bad it looks, kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm sorry to keep but you enlisted, you weren't drafted, right? You enlisted to go
we both enlisted.
Yes, sir.
That's to me why?
Well, my dad, the men in my family were warriors, every single one of them, and they never talked about World War II. My mom was
Golden State Warriors. They played for the Golden State Warriors.
No, most of them.
No, they were in the movie Warriors. They had
come out to play. Those Warriors.
No, they were more ball-headed bowling type warriors in those days. But they never talked about the war. My mother was engaged to a man that got killed on Omaha Beach on D-Day, or I wouldn't even be here. And then my dad
you would have had a different father.
My dad married. He came back from the war, Mustang pilot, handsome, good looking. He had an ego for sure. And then he got polio, spent a year in the hospital and 8 months in an iron lung. And our medical bills must have been in the millions. I don't know, but we had nothing. And I hated that. And then I did go to college, but I'm working every night from midnight to 8, cleaning toilets. And then I had a job as a pin setter in a bowling alley on the weekends when all the drunks got to throw their bowling balls at me.
Well, at least you got to clean toilets before we had our current diet. I mean, there were no Taco Bells. There were no 7-Elevens. So I'm sure cleaning the toilet bowl is just like, here's a clump, because everybody had their fiber then. Everybody had like good bowel movements back then. At least, well, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. You tell me, because I had to clean toilets as well. And I'm thankful that I did it back then as opposed to now.
Well, the first thing you do is you flush the son of a gun before you. Anyway,
you gotta flush him.
My point was, for me, I got drunk in a bar in Oswego where I was going to college one night, and the next morning I'm on the pool table when the owner comes back in and starts cleaning the place up, and he turns the radio on. It's talking about the 1st Marine Division being in Vietnam, and they were talking about body counts and shit. And I'm like, damn, I think I'm going to do that. And 9 months later, I'm in a rice paddy in Vietnam going, what have I done? That's how it happened. And my brother was kind of the same, it was a way out of a
Wow. Holy moly. God, we were talking about it a little bit earlier because like you, most of my entire family on both sides were warriors. My grandfather was in World War I, and he used to tell me stories about World War I all the time. And I'm the first male not to serve. And at the time, this is my excuse for it, I'm rationalizing and justifying why I did not serve. And I came up at a time where the Vietnam War was coming to an end, and my experience was you had two options. You either came back dead or maimed for life without your legs or all this kind of stuff, or you come back and you were called a baby killer and people spitting on you. So what was the upside of it? Like, where's the good part of it? And very few people by my time were enlisting to get away. They were looking for, I hope I don't come up in the lottery, all that kind of stuff. But
well, I think that if you come back and people accuse you of being a baby killer, you can always say, well, look, there's a chance that I took out the future baby Hitler. You know, because everybody wants to go back and kill baby Hitler, and they got a chance to do it. We just don't know which ones. Because
so you're saying Hitler was Vietnamese?
No, I'm just saying there was another baby Hitler in Vietnam somewhere, at least one. I mean, you can't kill all those. All those babies weren't good. All those babies were not going to grow up good. We know that. It's just statistics.
Well, the Khmer Rouge that came in after the Vietnam War were they killed millions of Vietnamese. They were all little baby Hitlers, in my view. But
wow,
yeah.
So I didn't mean to take it back to a rehashing of the Vietnam War. It's a terrible period in American history, and I still can't come to grips with the 58,000 names on a wall, and they were the guys who fought like you were told that you were going there to stop communism from coming to America. And communism took hold there, and it didn't come to America. So it's like,
they were fighting the wrong war. They should have been fighting to stop fascism from coming to America, because that's what we have now.
Yeah, well, whatever. So particularly, and I'll let you go after this, but I'm going to just, if I get the book and I read the book, am I going to come away more spiritually enlightened than I am right now? Because I'm not at all right now.
I would hope that you might be. You would see how other people's lives have changed by being willing to seek out a higher power. You know, for years I disdained the whole religious thing, and I felt like God had punished my family. I felt like God had punished my dad for sure. Although he was a very hardworking man, he made the best of it. He was a coper and a dealer, big time man. He was a tough guy. And I admired him immensely. You know, I was in the Boy Scouts. I wanted to serve my country. I had I believed it was a worthwhile cause, and I was afraid, honest to God, guys, this is the truth. I'm in that bar listening to that thing, and I'm making the decision. A month later, I'm in the War Memorial in Syracuse, New York, pledging to defend my country against enemies, foreign and domestic, and I'm thinking, I hope they don't finish it before I get there. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, I've heard that from a lot of people who enlisted. They hope, because, and listen, I agree. I understand where that comes from, the idea that I want to serve my country. And maybe this is overstating it, but you want to be heroic in some ways. It's part of the male psyche. Men grow up with this hero complex. So I get that part of it, but by the time,
I'm just a good submarine, a nice hoagie. Yeah, I have a hero complex, but also I have a hoagie complex. So
you can't say that on Long Island. You could come here. We'll have a bear make you. Never mind. But so I am definitely interested in finding out there's something bigger than myself, and I think about these things all the time. So that's why it was exciting for me to have you on the program to talk about the spiritual aspect of the book. And thank you for writing it. We want to ask.
Well, before you leave, Rand, I would like for us to have a moment of silence for your late friend Al Critty, Al Equity. He's going to be missed. He was a good man who became a bare necessity. So we
look for the bare necessities.
So rest in peace, Al. We're going to miss you. But Rand keeps you alive in his memories.
Right. And thank you so much for giving us a lot opportunity to talk about bowel movements and
yeah, for sure.
Because it's important. This is a morning show.
Bowel movements are a regular conversation here,
and
it should
be
it's a
morning show, and it's important to get your bowel movements taken care of early in the morning. So we appreciate it.
And bears have them too, and you can tell. Usually, you can smell them. If you think you smell a bear, you might want to take a good look around, see what's going on.
I know you're going to be doing other podcasts and have been doing other podcasts. I want to say to our audience, please call your library and ask them to get the book. It helps with just the visibility of the book, and it helps to get more people to read it. And I would recommend to you that any more of these kind of, you're never going to be on a show kind of like this, but any other podcast you go on, you would kind of mention that. Ask people to call their libraries and order the book. And you'll be surprised. You'll sell more books, even if it's only one each library. But those people will see it. It will become more visible, and then there you go.
And you may even get to do a book signing at the library and sell more books.
I'm doing one on the 31st at the East Syracuse Free Library right here in Syracuse, New York. Yep, got a whole room reserved.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you and have you on the program. Please do come back sometime. These book pitches don't end. Book publicity doesn't end within the first couple of months of publication. It goes on and on. So please do come back and spend some more time with us.
I would love to do that. My second book has already been published. We could talk about that. And that ties into my recovery program. Yeah. Thank you. This has been a great fun. I really appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you saying that. And one last piece of advice to you on the site where I found you, the publication site, get the right URL, the https://www.randtimmerman.com. The other one's not resolving, so we got the right one in there. That's links in the description for people. Make it easy for you, but make sure you get that straightened out. Thanks for being here, Rand, and have a great day, and hope to see you again soon.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
All right, bye for now. Wait, did he salute me? Because I'm like a mere civilian.
Well, it's funny. I waved like this, so he may have thought I did this.
Oh no, yeah.
I did that.
I'm unworthy. And obviously, my guilt is coming through for not having said. You
could always there's in the Matrix, in the John Wick, the John Wick movies. They have this thing where they say, "I have served. I have served. I serve. I've been in service," or something like that. That's like one of their little secret handshake things.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and I understand Slaptail's irk with people who say, "I try to join," but I try to join, but there's an epidemic of people lying about their service now. This Andrew Wilson guy who claimed to be an Army Delta Force Delta, like he made up something from he heard in a movie or something, and he just got caught in a web of lies about what a military, all on one side of the political spectrum, which making up their service history. I think that, I never served, and I feel guilty about that and have some regrets about it. But I never lied about it. Never felt compelled to tell people, I was Chris Kyle, more kills than any, that kind of stuff.
I have been given stuff by people who served, and when I was younger, I would wear like the stuff that I was given out of respect for them, and people would think like, first of all, it's like, you didn't serve. I know I didn't serve. This was my brother's jacket. This was my friend's pen. I had a friend who had an Air Force pen. It was, and I wore it, with my brother's Army jacket. And people thought I was trying to fool people. Like, no, this is my brother's jacket. This is, my friend's pen. I had a Navy shirt too. One of those, the things that the squibs wear, the little white shirt and stuff. I'd stop wearing because people just giving me. Actually, I didn't stop wearing it because people gave me grief. I stopped wearing them because I got fat. I couldn't wear them anymore.
Well, I don't know if you noticed about me, but I'm a movie star. I was in a movie called Car Wash, and in that movie, I'm wearing Frank Tamburillo, a corporal in the U.S. Army. I'm wearing his jacket and that, and I did take some grief for that. Frank, he gave me his jacket. What am I supposed to not wear it?
Right, that's I don't understand. What are you supposed to do with these things? The people who serve give you their jackets and stuff. Is like, what do you do with them? You know, they give it to you for a reason.
That's right.
No, they can put it in their own closet if they, you know.
So that, you know, it's a weird thing. Why I never thought about this, but why would he? Because I was good 6 or 7 years younger than him. Why did he feel compelled to give me his?
Yeah, Slaptail, you were a military man. Maybe you can answer that if you get a chance. If you can't answer it now, you can answer it later. Like because I'm going to be seeing. I'll talk to you tonight around 6, or actually around 5:55.
What are you going to be on his?
5:56. Yeah,
you're going to be on. Oh, is that motivational speaker dude going to be there?
No, because that's it. I think he's back in the hospital. Yeah, I think he's there motivating doctors to fix his ass.
Yeah. It's just I brought him up yesterday in one of the art classes, and people said, "Well, I don't," and they kind of picked up on it before I even brought up the point. I don't know. Why did he quit comedy? If he's gonna, if he's got this motivational attitude, it seems like he would follow through on that and prove to people.
Unless it ran its course. See, that's another thing you have to realize. Sometimes you will have done everything that you're going to do in a particular way. You know, it's like any other relationship. You know, your relationship with comedy, you outgrow it or it outgrows you. Sometimes you really aren't quitting. You know, sometimes it's just look. I'm at the point where I can see myself wanting to retire from comedy in about 2 years or so, if that, because I only have like 3 more shows left in me. You know, 3 more shows that I want to write and do. And after that, I will have done all the things
What am I going to do if he stops doing stuff? What am I going to do?
And look, at the rate they go, they would spend a year on each show. But I have 2 other shows I haven't even finished editing yet that I can put out there. So they can have like 5 shows. I can get them through 10 years.
Thank goodness.
I have 2 more shows I haven't finished editing yet. You know.
By the way, he never does this. I don't know how
I know. But you know, and I have to say this. I like his voice. I like his voice for what he does. I really do. I think he has a great voice for what he does. And I'm a little bit jealous. Because when I listen to his voice, I want to keep listening to him when he's talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
I do. I think he has a great voice for what he does. Now, I'm annoyed at the fact that he has the same look as seems like every other white guy who does a podcast, the glasses and the beard and the hair. Look, or maybe that's just what they think I like, and they keep sending me these pictures or these. I keep seeing these videos of these white guys with the glasses and this type of beard and wearing the hat. And I'm not talking about politics, because the politics, they try to look a little official or respectable. But people are doing entertainment stuff, the hat and the glasses and stuff. But his glasses are dark, and other people have like light glasses or yellow glasses. But his voice, I think, is great for what he does.
I agree. I did like listening to him talk. I haven't listened to him in months. I stopped when he said that personal insult about you. It wasn't about comedy, and I said, like, fuck this. I'm not going to listen to this stuff. But I'm talking about him, and not him directly, about the people who grew up in the era that he grew up, who were fascinated with 80s and 90s radio, whether it's Stern, they happen to be Opie and Anthony guys. And I'll be honest with you, I never listened to 1 second of Opie and Anthony. I know I don't like Anthony Cumia because he's a racist and just a terrible person. I was there when Opie started, and in fact, he got the opportunity that I really wanted at WBAB when we started out, and I appreciate him. I want to get him on the program, but what I wanted to say is there are people, and it's so fucking surprising to me, there are people obsessed with Opie and Anthony still. They haven't had a radio show or together for 20 years. They both have podcasts. Both of them do like less numbers than this, which is pretty if you were on top of the world here in rating numbers and on satellite radio and drawing all these big numbers, and then you come to podcasting and you're doing worse than me, there's something suspect about that. But the people who are just devoted to him, like Trump cult members, like you're either on Opie's side or Anthony's side, and they fight all day long on Twitter, and like they send their bot or their followers to go attack the other guy. It's just like insane. I'd like to get Opie on. He's refused a couple of times. He does the show at the same time a lot. But I'd love to talk.
I have a question for you. Who is not me in the not me? I know it's not me, but is that it's not me?
It's me over here. No, yeah, it's not me. It's not me over there.
Okay.
Because I for some reason my scroll thing isn't working over here. I can't scroll to videos and it's crap. It's just driving me crazy.
Is the scroll mechanism there? It just doesn't move, or you just don't see the scroll mechanism?
The scroll mechanism is there, and my sounds and background music can do that, but I can't get the video stuff to show. It shows fine over here. StreamYard.
Okay.
Give me a fucking refund. You owe me, StreamYard. You fucked up a lot of songs, a lot of shows in the last month. So come on, give me a little money back. Tomorrow you're here and I'm not. I have a show tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, because I haven't set a bucket up for tomorrow. Do you want to give me some clue? Is it just going to be GD Explains It's Funny? More of that?
Yeah. And I'm probably going to dedicate a lot of it to our cat that just passed away. I'm going to look for some bits that I've talked about the cats. Some of them I've already shown, and I think there may be one or two that may not have seen.
All right, I'm sorry to pick at a scab here, a wound, because I know. Listen, I'm being silly here, but I know that the loss of the cat hurt you. The question I have for you: are you going to get a replacement cat, or are you going to?
I don't know that. Let's put it this way: it's not. I do not want a replacement cat, but when my wife and I lost, we had a cat when we first got together. It was her cat that who came with her. It was a part of her package deal. And when he died, she just lost it. She goes, I can't go through this again. I will never get another cat. And then years later in our relationship, we wound up getting, like maybe 7 or 8 years later, we wound up getting 2 cats, one of which is the one that just died. And the other one died like 5 years ago. Well, and she goes, but it was like 7 to 8 years. And she goes, when we wound up getting another cat. So I don't know that she won't be saying that again in 7 or 8 years.
Oh, that's a long time, though. Most people,
right now I'm 60. I'm 66. In 7 or 8 years, I'll be 65.
And you'll be on the Appalachian Trail for a good 6 months out of that time. You can't take the cat with you.
Yeah, and besides that, we have 2 cats that stay on our porch right now. 2 stray cats that we've been taking care of and feeding and stuff. And my wife just told me not to get rid of Elsie's carrier because she says in case we need to take one of those cats to the vet. They're strays. Yes, we feed them every day, twice a day, and give them fresh water and let them in the house if it's cold or rainy. And they'll use the litter box and go back out. That's the other thing we couldn't get when we lost Elsie. We didn't get rid of the litter boxes because the 2 stray cats outside will come in and use the litter box. So we still have cats. They just don't sleep in the house most of the time. Like Elsie was in the house 22 hours a day, and these cats are outside 22 hours a day.
You're making me think that I should let worlds collide, and I shouldn't. But I was thinking that I should have my wife talk to Carol about, because we have strays, and she loves strays, and she feeds them all the time. They come to the edge of the door, put one paw in, and don't come. My wife would love it if at least Baby Ghetto came in there. But no, you can't let your worlds collide. No, my wife can never talk to your wife. That'll never happen.
And actually now that okay. My wife says these things, and it's my job to figure out how to do them. Oh. Okay, that's it. I I have come to the conclusion that my function in this marriage is to make her ideas come to fruition.
Wow.
That is my job.
This is like full circle. So you're coming to your engineer. You're taking an engineering perspective to bring your marriage together. We're back to engineering.
It took a long time to figure it out because first I thought we got married because she completed me, and then I realized no, we got married because I fixed shit for her. It's not, and it's like, and it doesn't matter. Like she'll go like it. And the funny thing is, I don't know if she's, because sometimes because I was trying to figure out how she's manipulating everybody. Okay, my wife would be offended if I said this because she knows it's true. Everybody manipulates people. Okay, maybe not all the time, but yes, because that's how we get what we want from people. If they're not doing it naturally, we kind of manipulate. That's just what we do. It's human nature. Damn it, starts when we're babies. Like I want a little titty. Well, how am I going to get some mother's milk? I'm going to cry until you give it to me.
Wow.
Babies don't have to cry. They can just do this. No, I'm just kidding. But no. So when my wife wanted Elsie rescued, she was when Elsie was a starving cat in the woods, starving. She was barely surviving on insects because there were a bunch of bully cats that wouldn't let her eat. And Carol says to me, "You have to do something." And I said, "What? You mean put it down?" And she goes, "No, you have to feed her and rescue her." The cat was afraid of people. I said, "Well, how am I going to get near her? She's afraid of people." She goes, "You'll figure it out. You're a cat whisperer." And I did figure it out. And the cat has been with us for like 10 years or something. I don't know how many years, maybe 10 years. No. And we don't know how old she was when we found her. The vet said between 3 and 5 years or something like that.
No story in the history of stories has ever been more boring than that one.
Well, wait till tonight, my man.
Yeah, is that live? By the way, so I don't want to watch it.
No, it's not live.
I'm not in Norway anyway.
And besides, you have to get ready for your show tonight because it's like from 6 to 7:30 or whatever, and then you got your show at 8:00.
What is my show tonight about? I don't know.
Some guy.
I think it's a doctor or something.
Cream of some young guy.
Wow. So he's Chinese. I put it out because I'm for Paint with Matt. I put this advertisement out for more nursing home work, and I use Facebook's algorithms to say target Long Island only, and I keep getting people from all over the world wanting to know what is a Paint with Matt event cost. It's like, and I'm thinking I'm answering, well, if you're in Suffolk County or Nassau County. People are from Zimbabwe. They want me to come there for a paint party. I can't do it. It's not affordable. I got to call Facebook and say, what are you charging me for people you're showing it to? You're not supposed to show it to. You're supposed to show it only to people on Long Island. I'm not going all over the world yet, but we are starting a company. My stepdaughter, my wife, and myself are starting a company called Color Me Fun Paint Parties. Color Me Fun Paint Parties. And it will be nationwide. I'm going to try to recruit people, painters all over the world. So putting that out there. If you're a painter and you want to start doing parties, get in touch with me. That's all I'm saying, because I have.
Some guy's gonna say, "I painted bathrooms and bedrooms all over the country. I've never done a living room. I hope I can be of service."
Yeah. I'm a little bit nervous. Speaking of painters. We lost Sunshine, and I don't know where we lost Sunshine, but we lost Sunshine. Is Heavy Kev the next casualty of war? We didn't get one bear picture. We didn't get one.
I know. I even sent him a prompt.
I would even think like in the first hour, just bored to tears picture. Right? I don't think Henry's going to sell a lot of books with the filibustering. Yes or no question. Yes or no question is yes or no. You get it?
Yeah.
All right. Yes. See, it was a yes or no question, and you answered yes. You know how it
I
works.
wasn't finished. I still had 15 more minutes to go. You interrupted
Well,
me.
you see, there was a book in 1831. We're talking about modern politics. 1831. And
yeah, when he said the quintessential book on U.S. democracy, I'm thinking somebody wrote something recent. This was like 1835. He wrote volume 1. In 1840, he wrote volume 2.
Yeah. Before the Great Combo, and he was saying, well, you're applying that to America today. It was still slavery.
Yeah, people were still slaves. Well, women couldn't vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the quintessential book on U.S. history.
And he said if you ask most people what their best book on politics was, they would say that. You ask most people, they would never.
I was waiting for him to say Common Sense.
Oh, I didn't even Thomas Paine. I didn't even think of, but I would have thought All the President's Men. That's the most relevant to today, right? In the world we live in today. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to bore the.
Although Haberman's book is pretty decent. The Trump, what's it called? Trump fucking people in the ass against their will.
I saw a little clip with that Krista with the Animapur, whatever, and she was interviewing
Animapur,
yeah, she was interviewing Maggie Haberman,
yeah,
and Maggie said that Trump calls her hag and says she's the least attractive woman on the planet. Like what? And then she says, "Whatever, it doesn't matter." Obviously, that you can't say it. It hurts. That's it, even though it's him. Even though he's a dick, and it's just what he's gonna do.
She knows she's not the least attractive woman on the planet. No, so that's just it. See, a lot of times people do this hyperbole, and it doesn't work. It's like a kid. It's like a kid saying to their mother, "You're the worst mother ever." I don't know how many kids say that. Or you're the worst father ever. And they're like, really? Let me go down the fucking list of all the fathers that I've known that are worse than me. So it doesn't land. If you're talking to someone with intelligence and any kind of knowledge, it doesn't land. The first thing you think is, really? You're so fucking stupid.
I agree with you, but and I'm just basing this off things that I said, because I have talked about people who criticize me, and I'm very open to the fact that I can't lie and say it doesn't hurt. If you're mentioning it, if the words even come out of your mouth about what somebody said negative about you, at some level it registered in your heart and soul, and it hurts you in some way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that. Like, even though I have little respect for the people who said shit about me, whenever people say shit about me, especially if I bring it up directly about like if I said Carl. What's his name? Carl Hamburger said I was the worst podcaster in the history of podcasting. If I said that, obviously that registered in my heart and soul.
Look, I've got the award for the worst comedy special of all time. Right. And then I'm getting another one in the mail soon because they said the other one was worse.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's impossible.
I know. So I'm going to have 2 of these.
Wow.
First of all, thank you.
I was just going to say, when you get up to the podium, who are you going to thank for? I'd like to thank my.
Well, the first I'd like to thank. I have to thank myself for having the balls to record them and call them a special. Because I didn't, for lack of a better word, that's what I called them. So yeah, I had the balls to do it. So yeah, and then. I gotta thank all the people who just did comedy better than me. If they didn't do it better than me, I couldn't be worse. So
my friend Derek Sheen is. I just kind of get this plug in before we go. Derek Sheen's first special ever. He's had comedy albums out, but he's taping his very first special. Derek Sheen, go follow him on Facebook. He's not on Twitter. He got kicked off Twitter 10 years ago. But follow him on Facebook, Derek Sheen, and find out all the details about where his taping's going to be. He's out west, so it's going to be somewhere in the Washington, Portland, whatever, Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle.
I think the other trophy, I think it's called the even worst comedy special of all time.
All right.
Award.
Yeah. All right, we got to get out of here. I don't really have to get out of here. Wednesday's my day where I really don't have to, and right now I don't have to run anywhere. And so
I got to leave at 12 so I can go pick up Elsie's ashes.
Oh, and the dentist went swell yesterday, right?
Well, the swelling was down, so yeah. I think was it yesterday or Monday? I don't remember when I went.
I thought it was yesterday.
It could have been. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is healing nicely. You know, and this is what I told my wife was going to happen. When I get there, the pain was not going to be there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I'm in the parking lot. Yeah.
I took a car. The engine light was on for like 4 days, and I called, and as soon as it came on, I called. Can I bring it in? He said, "No, we can't get down there. They closed the road. You have to wait till Saturday." Saturday comes. I'm like, "Yes, I'm finally gonna get this engine light looked at." Get in the car, start it. Engine light's off. I get there, and it's like, just an oxygen sensor.
I know when I was living in Florida. And summer got really fucking hot. My air conditioning stopped working. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's like almost 100 degrees, 4 days a week. And I have no air conditioning in my car. And it was just wouldn't work. And so I take it to the dealership. And I turn the car off to go inside. And it's not working. When I come back out, we start the car and the air conditioner is blasting and cold as shit. And the guy goes, I said, it wasn't working. I'm kidding. I would not have come here if it was working. He goes, I don't know. I say, can't you troubleshoot? He goes, not if it's working. I can't troubleshoot. It won't tell me anything if it's working. You know? And then about a few days later, it was not working again. And this time I wouldn't let it shut off. I would not shut the car off. And I took it in and I said, I'm not shutting the car off. I took 2 sets of keys with me so I could lock the car and keep it running. And that way I can come back and open it up with the other key. Fucking genius, right? Fucking genius. The guy tells the guy to open the car. It's now cold as ice. And there's frost forming on the dashboard. I'm like, yo, come the fuck on. I said, I'm just going to drive my car around your parking lot whenever I get hot. That way, you know. And then after that, it never acted up again until that car died, you know, never acting up again. It was totaled before it acted up again.
So I want to say to you, if you ever, you know, obviously your air conditioner is trying to make you look bad. It's trying to set you up for it to be institutionalized or something. But if that ever happens again, you should just drive around.
No, fuck that. I'm going to park the car and I'm going to walk around nappy.
listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me.